What is going on, YouTube? So I just got done with my OKC Golden State series preview, so now coming back with my Raptors Cavs, and I'm gonna do the same format for that. Like I said, running with the new format for my videos now for this type of preview, and that's just gonna go with the logos for each team. I'm not gonna show just a talking head video. But anyway, do the same format. I'm gonna go ahead and start out with the Cavs, end of the preview. So I think my 3 keys to victory for the Cavs, start out with obviously number 1, is for the big 3 to stay hot. Again, a lot of these keys are going to seem obvious, but that's because they are. People have been paying very heavy attention to 3 of the 4 teams left in the playoffs, between the Cavs, Warriors, and Thunder. And the big 3 seems to finally be clicking. Kevin Love scoring it, I believe, over 20 points per game right now. It seems like we've been waiting for that for a long time. Finally clicking at both ends of the floor, and playing with Kyrie and LBJ the way, again, people were expecting him to since he was acquired from Minnesota. So if they do click the way they've been clicking, and obviously they haven't lost a game yet in the playoffs, then this is good. Not only is it going to be a hard series for the Raptors, it seems like an almost unwinnable series for the Raptors if things go the way they have been going. Now, my second key for the Cavs is to get big play from the bench. I'm talking about Delly, Shumpert, Shumpert or JR, depends on who's starting that game. And see if Timothy Mozgov can finally step up a way that it's just seemed he's faded this year. And I don't think that's going to happen, but if the Cavs can get big play from the bench and take some of the pressure off LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love, give them a little bit of a break before the finals, if they do end up making it through the series, then not only obviously will that help them in this series, but they'll be able to have that longevity carry into the finals. So third key for the Cavaliers is I think Kevin Love's got to continue to average 20 points per game. It just seems like it's unguardable when Kevin Love's averaging 20 points per game, because then, I mean, I don't think the Raptors have 3 guys to defend Kevin Love, Kyrie, and LeBron when they're all on. If Kevin Love does shrink back down to being a 12 to 15 points per game scorer, back down to about 40% field goal percentage, like he was for the majority of the 2014-2015 season, then again, that probably won't happen, but you're looking at a situation where the Raptors can shorten it down to a little bit of a 2-man game, and be able to lock down on LeBron and Kyrie. And while it still might not go in the Raptors' favor, it makes it a lot easier for them to defend. And again, something that won't go in the Cavs' favor. So talk about two X factors for the Cavs in the way of players, and I think the first one is, again, Kevin Love. It's understated how important Kevin Love is going to be for the Cavs in this series. The fact that he's finally come through, he's shooting threes over 38% again. It's something that you just you can't, again, it's something you can't overstate. Channing Frye is my second. So Channing Frye has been huge. Adding another guy at the 4 that can play. They can play, I wouldn't say big minutes, but can play 20-25 minutes to take some of the pressure off Kevin Love, off Tristan Thompson, and really make the Cavs just go in a way that, again, it just seemed like they weren't in most of the regular season. Again, it seems like the Cavs have finally reached that pinnacle that everyone's been waiting for, that potential that everyone knows that they could be able to reach for the last 2 years. They're hitting threes at an unbelievable rate. They're hitting threes at about 46% rate, and I don't have any doubt that Kyrie and LeBron are going to deliver their end of the deal. They've been averaging around, I think it's 46, 47 points per game combined. Kyrie's actually leading the team in scoring at about 24 points per game as well. So get into some of the keys for the Raptors. I know it seems like I've shit on them so far, but again, it's just that's the way it seems like it's going to go. Anyway, first key is a healthy Jonas Valanciunas. I don't know if he's going to come back from, I believe, an ankle injury. During the series, he's remaining uncertain. Up until now, obviously, him and Hassan Whiteside went down in the Miami-Toronto series. Toronto took them to 7 games, just won, I believe, 116-89 today. You can't doubt what Toronto's been able to do this year. The fact that they didn't actually choke in 2 big Game 7s against 2 actually very good teams in Miami and Indiana. They've been battle tested, and I think they'll be able to give the Cavs a lot more of a contest than a lot of people think. Like I said, I know it sounds like I've been hating on the Raptors so far in this preview, but again, I respect what they've been able to do so far. You're just running into a Cavs team that hasn't looked better since LeBron got there. So, second key for me is for DeRozan and Lowry to at least shoot 40%. They jack up so many shots if they're shooting 40%, and they get to the line so much where they shoot at least 80% normally, that if they shoot 40%, then they're going to get their points. They're going to give Cleveland somewhat of a challenge. Now, my third key is for Patrick Patterson and Bismack Biyombo to be able to pull down at least 15 rebounds per game. Again, this is a little bit contingent on Valanciunas not making it into the lineup. If he's not able to make it into the lineup, then obviously it increases the reliance on Biyombo and Patrick Patterson once again. Biyombo played pretty well in the last series. He stepped up, really took the reins, and obviously got the Raptors where they needed to be and win in 7 games. But also, it seems like it's just going to be a little too much for Patrick Patterson and Bismack Biyombo to be able to guard hot Channing Frye, Tristan Thompson. That's just a monster on the boards compared to the rest of the Cavs at least. And then also Kevin Love, who's, like I mentioned a lot, has been extremely hot. So my 2 X factors for the Toronto Raptors. One is their entire bench. I'm talking about the guys like Corey Joseph, Terrence Ross, Norman Powell. Like I said, if Jonas Valanciunas does come back, then Bismack Biyombo. And hopefully DeMar Carroll can stay healthy for this entire series. But anyway, they've been big so far. I believe they combined to around 24, 25 points per game. And actually, never mind, about 20 points per game. And Norman Powell looked like he stepped up big at the end of the regular season, and now it just seems like he's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. He was the best rookie for the Raptors this year. Looked like one of the better rookies heading into the playoffs, just in the NBA as a whole. Terrence Ross, a guy that has the potential to get you 15, 18 points per game, be a big threat from 3. And Corey Joseph has actually been having, at times, a very, very good playoffs. I think he's been the most consistent of the 3 names I just mentioned, at least. So my second X factor is, I think, the guy who's going to have to be the biggest for the Raptors, and that's DeMar DeRozan. For the first few games of the Raptors-Pacers series, it seemed like he was the normal DeMar DeRozan in the playoffs, choking, DeBrick DeRozan, DeMar DeFrozen, whatever nickname you want to give him. And then he brought it back. I believe 35 points today. I can't remember if it was him and Lowry had 35, 28. Can't remember who was who, but anyway, if DeMar DeRozan can average over 25 points per game, can shoot more than 43%, he's so dangerous from mid-range. He's such a great offensive creator that being able to go punch for punch, blow for blow with LeBron, Kevin Love, Kyrie, then I think it'll turn into at least a competitive series, especially when they're playing in Toronto. So, talk about my 3 biggest matchups for this series, and my first one is probably the most obvious one, and that is DeMar Carroll and LeBron James. DeMar Carroll, actually known as one of the better defensive small forwards in the NBA, but he's had pretty tough assignment, or he had a pretty tough assignment in the first round, drawing against Paul George, and Paul George had a huge first round, even though the Pacers were not able to get through the first round, and then landed DeMar DeRozan, or not DeMar DeRozan, landed Joe Johnson, Luol Deng for a little bit of the Miami Heat series, Dwayne Wade for a little bit of it as well, who was mainly guarding Deng when he wasn't injured, and then, like I said, Joe Johnson. Justice Winslow a little bit as well. Miami Heat, after losing Hassan Whiteside, ended up going with pretty small lineups since they didn't have much of an option there. But my second matchup is, again, probably the second most obvious, and that's Kyle Lowry and Kyrie Irving. A battle of two of the top 10 point guards in the league, in my opinion. I wouldn't really say top 5. I don't know if either of them's top 5. But anyway, both point guards have been fantastic this year, have been big for their team, or were huge for their teams last round. Like I mentioned, Kyrie, the leading scorer for the Cavaliers, and then Kyle Lowry, the second leading scorer for the Toronto Raptors. And in my opinion, the Raptors go as Kyle Lowry goes. DeMar DeRozan, unless he just has one of those, like I said, DeRozan nights, he's going to get his points. He takes a lot of shots. He managed to get open a lot. Like I said, he's a great offensive creator. But Kyle Lowry's got to be consistent. When he's on, when he's confident, when he's got that killer instinct, averaging 25, 30 points, or getting 25 or 30 points, then the Raptors are very hard to beat. Now, the Raptors also got through a Miami Heat team that did not have Hassan Whiteside. They'll be playing in, I wouldn't say a very similar situation, but a somewhat similar situation against Cleveland that does not have a great rim protector. Mozgov's just been not great this year. Like I said, big drop off compared to last year. And if Kyle Lowry can get to the rim, like I said, get that killer instinct, then that could again make the series a lot more competitive for the Cavs. So my pick is not going to make Toronto fans happy, but I'm going to actually make I believe only my second pick that's like this, and I'm going to call the Cavs in a sweep. Now, I want to explain this pick a little bit because I'm sorry, Raptors fans. I believe this is the first Eastern Conference Finals ever for the Toronto Raptors, and they've been extremely competitive so far. Like I said, dispatching of two very quality playoff teams in the Pacers and the Heat in 7 games each. And I just think that this is a Cavs team right now that's too determined to get back to the finals, too determined to see, what will probably be the Warriors again, or the Thunder, either way. And I think this is a Cleveland team. I was actually watching the Believe Land 30 for 30 last night, and I think this is just a LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love big three that's just way too determined to get back to the finals and see if they can finally win this thing. And I don't think a team like the Raptors that's been very inconsistent in the playoffs, albeit good when it matters, I don't think they're going to let that get in their way. I think that they're going to work through this Raptors team immediately and actually run through the Eastern Conference undefeated. So that pretty much does it. Like I said, fun talking about basketball and previewing the conference finals. If you did not see my Oklahoma City Thunder San Antonio Spurs preview, I'll put the link to that video in the description below. But yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.